Hello everyone. Today we are looking at Chapter 15, Designing and Administering an Interview Protocol. It's about setting up good interviews and making them work well. The primary objective of this chapter is to develop the skill of conducting a good qualitative interview. Grasping the importance of this skill is essential, as interviews are a key method in qualitative research to gain personal insights. It's crucial to align questions with study's objectives. This process also involves transitioning from an expert to a learner, emphasizing the researcher's role in truly understanding participants. To achieve this, it requires knowledge of interview types, structured protocols, and best practices. I will explore the details of this chapter, breaking it down into the following key aspects: 1. Types of interviews. 2. Steps in conducting a qualitative interview. 3. Parts of an interview protocol. 4. Additional interviewing ideas. 5. Challenges in conducting interviews. There are 5 different types of interviews available to qualitative researchers. 1. One-on-one interviews. This method is ideal for obtaining personal perspectives. It allows researchers to observe body language and vocal inflections. However, finding a suitable location for conducting the interview is essential. 2. Telephone or cell phone interviews. When our participants are spread across different locations, this method becomes ideal. It's especially useful for reaching geographically distant participants. However, there are drawbacks: the cost of calls and the inability to observe facial expressions. 3. Video calls. To overcome the visual limitation of phone interviews, we use video calls. These provide the convenience of phone interviews, but with the added benefit of visual interaction. However, it's essential to be aware of potential wiretap loss when recording these conversations. 4. Focus groups. It is a dynamic method where we gather a small group, typically around 6 people, to discuss a specific topic. The beauty of this method is the synergy it generates, but remember, it might not be the best choice for sensitive topics, and ensuring accurate transcription can be challenging. Lastly, for open-ended internet interviews, this method uses a structured interview protocol where participants respond either in writing or through online conversations. It's particularly ideal for participants spread across different regions. However, it is important to note participants must be web literate and provide consent for the interview. Then how will you decide which form is best for your qualitative data collection? Firstly, consider one-on-one interviews. This will likely yield the most information, making them a top choice for many researchers. But what if your participants are spread out geographically? That's where internet or telephone interviews come into play. They brace the distance and ensure you will capture valuable data. However, if your time and resources are problems, don't fret. Consider the focus groups because you will be able to reach more individuals than through one-on-one interviews. Building on our previous discussion about choosing the right form of interview, it's essential to understand the specific structures these interviews can take. Each structure has its own set of advantages and limitations. Now let's look at these structures. Structured interviews, more rigid, often associated with quantitative research, provide set response categories asking the same questions derived from predefined conceptual theories but can limit participant responses. Semi-structured interviews uses a defined interview protocol with structured questions and follow-up probes, highly recommended for its balance of structure and flexibility. Unstructured interviews involves open-ended questions with minimal structure, often seen in informal conversational settings and is less frequently used. So having explored these steps, let's move to the practical steps of conducting a qualitative interview. Here are the steps in conducting a qualitative interview. Step 1. Decide whether interviews are appropriate. 2. Choose the type of interview. 3. Invite participants. 4. Develop an interview protocol. 5. Arrange the audio equipment. 6. Arrange for a quiet setting for the interview. 7. Conduct the interview. 8. Follow up after the interview. Let's explore each step to understand its significance. Start with step 1. Decide whether interviews are appropriate. First, decide if interviews suit your qualitative study. While commonly used and valuable, they may not be ideal if individuals are hesitant to speak or if the topic is sensitive. Typically, qualitative interviews are semi-structured and open-ended. Step 2. Choose the type of interview. Determine the interview type by evaluating the advantages and the disadvantages of options like one-on-one, telephone, focus groups, and internet interviews. Choose a semi-structured format using an interview protocol or Gatsford structure. Step 3. Invite participants. Based on our sampling strategies, we contact potential participants for interviews. We send an informal consent letter for review and signature. Our invitation highlights the interview topics, benefits to the participant, and any incentives offered. If required, we seek permission from gatekeepers for participation. We suggest conducting the interview in a quiet location, inform participants about audio recording, and specify the expected interview duration. Step 4. Develop an interview protocol. At this point, we design an interview protocol or guide, a tool for listing the questions we will ask and for recording some of our thoughts as the interview proceeds. A format for designing this protocol will be discussed in the next section of this chapter. Step 5. Arrange the audio equipment. Before the interview, ensure the audio equipment is ready. Always aim to record the session, regardless of its type or structure. Use high-quality digital devices, either dedicated audio recorders or smartphones paired with good microphones. Step 6. Arrange for a quiet setting for the interview. Choose a quiet, distraction-free location for interviews. While some prefer their workplace or home, it's best to encourage quieter spots. Ensure the chosen place respects privacy for both ethical considerations and to facilitate open conversation. Step 7. Conduct the interview. Before starting, ensure the audio equipment works correctly. Our interviews usually last around half an hour, but the duration can vary based on research topics and participants. A 30-minute session produces roughly 20 pages of single-spaced text. During the interview, we prioritize appropriate questioning, attire, and courtesy while keeping the interviewee focused on the topic. Step 8. Follow up after the interview. After the interview, we ensure the audio was recorded clearly. We thank the interviewee, address any follow up requests, and sometimes schedule additional sessions for clarity. The recording is then sent to a transcriptionist for conversion into text, initiating the data analysis process. Now is another vital component, parts of interview protocol. Here are the essential parts that constitute it. Part 1. Basic information about the interview. Part 2. Introduction. Part 3. Opening questions. Part 4. Content questions. Part 5. Using prompts. Part 6. Example of a content question with prompts. Part 7. Follow-up questions. Part 8. Closing instructions. Let's see the details together. Part 1. Basic information about the interview. This section captures essential interview details for organized data storage, including the date, time, location, participants' names, interview duration, and the file name of the recorded audio and transcription. Part 2. Introduction. This protocol section offers guidance for the interviewer to ensure critical details are not missed, especially during potentially tense moments. The interviewer should introduce themselves and clarify the study's objective. Key points include having a pre-written purpose, obtaining a signed informed consent form, discussing the interview structure, addressing any interviewee questions beforehand, and defining essential terms used in the interview. Part 3. Opening questions. The initial phase of an interview should make the interviewee comfortable, starting with an icebreaker like inquiring about their job or day can foster a relaxed environment. Avoid personal questions and focus on topics that allow individuals to speak freely about themselves. Part 4. Content questions. Content questions explore the study's main topics, breaking down the central phenomenon. They are framed in a friendly manner and often start with what or how. Open-ended questions are preferred as they promote detailed responses, while closed-ended questions yield limited information. The goal is to thoroughly address the central research question through these sub-questions. Part 5. Using prompts. Content questions in interviews utilize prompts, which prompt researchers to seek further details or clarifications. Common prompts include "Tell me more," "I need more detail," "What is an example of that?" "Could you explain your response more?" Although some researchers worry about having too few questions, incorporating these prompts can elicit more in-depth information, ensuring a productive interview despite its length. Part 6. Example of a content question with prompts. A content question would ask something like this: how does your family support your Latino students in college? Prompts: tell me more about what praise means to you. Please explain further what support means to you for your student. Part 7. Follow-up questions. Concluding the interview, consider asking, whom should I contact next for more insights? Is there additional information you'd like to share? These questions offer closure and demonstrate your continued interest in the topic. Part 8. Closing instructions. After the interview, thank the interviewee. Promise to keep their information private. Mention possible follow-up interviews. Explain how they can learn about the study results. Offer to send a simple summary of the final result. This provides a detailed introduction to the crucial components of interview protocol. Now let's look at some additional interviewing ideas that can enhance the quality and ensure a smooth process. 1. Dress for the occasion. You need to dress appropriately to make the interviewee comfortable, and match or complement the expected attire of the interviewee. 2. Use proper recording equipment. Use lapel microphones for clear one-on-one interview recordings. For focus groups, use high-definition recorders like the Zoom H4n. Ensure minimal background noise during the interview, and test the equipment beforehand and have a backup plan, such as taking menu notes. 3. Understand your role as an interviewer. Pose questions naturally without reading verbatim from the protocol. Allow interviewee time to think and answer. Merely listen. Avoid giving personal evaluations during the interview. Note key quotations and maintain eye contact. Use a protocol with clear instructions for interviewees, including study purpose and recording consent. Differentiate between instructions and interview content virtually on the protocol. Next, let's explore a helpful tool, our interview checklist. In Figure 15.2, you will find a list of crucial questions to consider before starting an interview. These questions range from selecting participants and choosing the type of interview to ensuring a quiet setting and concluding the interview politely. By addressing this query, you ensure you are ready and well prepared for the process. Moving forward, let's address some of the common challenges researchers face while conducting interviews and how to overcome them. Practice. Conducting pilot interviews is essential to hone your skill. Interview duration. Ideally, aim for a half-hour interview, adjusting as needed. Shorter interviews not only respect the respondent's time, but also yield rich data. Next, engaging respondents. The key to a successful interview is engage respondent. Use probing questions and start with icebreakers to set a relaxed tone. Next, test the protocol. Before exploring, always conduct a pilot test to ensure effective data extraction. 5. Stay objective. It's crucial to avoid sharing personal views during the interview. Lastly, stay on check. While it's easy to get sidetracked, regularly remind respondents of the interview's purpose to maintain focus. In conclusion, let's revisit the key points we've covered in our session on qualitative interviews. Significance of interviews. We understand why interviews are a cornerstone in qualitative research. Types of interviews. From face-to-face interactions to online dialogues, we explored various formats. 3. Structured variance. We discussed the differences between unstructured, semi-structured, and structured approaches. Interview process. We walked through the complete journey from preparation to post-interview steps. Interview protocol components. We broke down the elements that make up a good interview protocol. Interview challenges, addressing potential pitfalls and providing guidance on overcoming them. So I hope this overview equips you with a comprehensive understanding of qualitative interviews, setting you on a path to conduct effective and insightful interviews. Thank you for your listening.